Hello guys and welcome back to a Gcor show. Today we'll be speaking about the interesting fight at the top of the Constructors standings. I mean, we've got 3, potentially 4 teams fighting for the Constructors title this season. But wow, what a what a change of last season. I mean, last season we just had one runaway team, and after Suzuka, it did look like that runaway team was going to be McLaren again, going for the three-peat. Only one team in Gcor history has been able to go for 3 Constructors Championships in a row, that being GN7 Mercedes. Potentially more on them a little bit later. But yeah, I mean, who's going to win the championship this season? So far, it looks like we've got 3 teams, as I said, potentially 4. I'll say 3.5, 3.5. But yeah, this is going to be my my thoughts on all of the potential championship challenges. So yeah, put your feet up, relax, and listen. The first team I've got, which I'll be talking about, is the McLaren team of Hurricane and Charlie Dool. This team has been a force to be reckoned with for the last 2 seasons. Gcor, make that 3 seasons in Gcor. This year they're going to be again a force to be reckoned with. I know there was a lot of controversy, but like a lot of talk in the off-season, towards the end of the off-season, about Charlie Dool's predicament and Charlie Dool's contract status. I mean, Hurricane, he's built that team around him and he's happy. Tyler's done a brilliant job, and that partnership between Tyler and Hurricane, I think, needs to be applauded very much. I think Tyler's managed to get the most out of Hurricane. He's managed to nurse his driver, look after him, and I think Hurricane now is repaying Tyler with all these wins, all these pole positions, all these drivers' championships, all these constructors' championships. So Hurricane's definitely there to stay. Charlie Dool, on the other hand, as I said before, there was a little bit of chat around his future. It wasn't too loud. I think he was going to be at McLaren anyways. But I don't know. Maybe it was just something to get us talking in the off season. A story to kind of take us away from the Chicona situation. But yeah, no, Charlie Dool's done a brilliant job, and I think in terms of consistency, he's up there. I think Marshy's a faster driver than Charlie. I think Charlie is more consistent and will finish ahead of him in the standings. I mean, Charlie right now is 4 points ahead of Marshy, and is currently 7 points away from the lead. So McLaren, in terms of winning the constructors, I think they're still favourite. I think they've got that championship winning experience, and I think they're just a well-oiled team. I mean, I know Singapore didn't go to plan, but I think they've got everything. They've got everything needed right there. And this is a dynasty. What we're watching right now, what we're witnessing right now with McLaren, is something to be held. Is something to be respected. This is very, very similar to what we saw with GN7. It seemed like they're unstoppable, unbeatable. Whatever happened, you just see a GN7 Mercedes on the podium. And I think same thing is happening here with McLaren. So I still think they'll win the championship, but it's going to be tough because Haas are only 4 points behind them as we speak. Haas, a team, one of the few teams actually, to have never won a Constructors. No, actually, no, not one of the few teams. Quite a few teams haven't won the Constructors. But it's only recently they've started kind of doing well. I know Hurricane won his first title with a Haas, but that team finished 3rd in the Constructors. GN7 Mercedes, up to that point in Gen 3 Season 4, that was their worst ever season, GN7, and they managed to beat Haas for P2. I mean, don't get me wrong, that was the high standards GN7 Mercedes used to set themselves, where P2 was the worst they'd ever finished. Now, obviously, it's been surpassed. Now it's obviously last season where they finished P6. But yeah, this is definitely, I guess, a new situation for Haas, where they've got not just one but both drivers fighting at the top, in Luigi and Marshy. And Luigi, I feel like he's got a little chip on his shoulder. You know, we all remember what happened in season in season 4, sorry, when Hurricane beat Luigi to the title. It was controversial because it was a penalty from a Red Bull driver getting a penalty. Although, just like what happened with Dino Bambino, that penalty was fully justified. So I guess that kind of takes away any sort of chit chat. But many people that season did believe Luigi should have won the championship, and I guess at the end of the day that was on Luigi himself for not turning up to the final 2 races. Maybe that was complacency, maybe that was him missing his flight, maybe that was just the team running out of money. But as we speak, both Hurricane and Luigi are on equal points. Hurricane ahead on race wins, but that team of Luigi and Marshy are looking strong. I mean, both are race winners. Both are, you know, forces to be reckoned with on track. And I mean, Marshy, what a weekend he's just had at Singapore, getting pole in the intermediate conditions and bagging fastest lap, winning that chaotic race at Singapore. I mean, we had 2 red flags because of the heavy rain and the thunder. We had 2 safety cars because of incidents. And, you know, Marshy just managed to keep his head. He managed to keep his head in the game. He didn't get distracted and managed to come home for a very, very famous 1-2. You know, not many teams have bagged 1-2s, but, you know, along with McLaren, along with GN7 Mercedes, now you can add, and Alpine, now you can add Haas onto that famous list. So, you know, congratulations to them. And definitely they're going to be very, very strong. Next team I've got on this list is Williams, and Williams had a disastrous start to the season. You know, both cars DNFing in Suzuka. Smudge, I don't actually know what happened to him. I don't think it was a mechanical issue. I think he binned the car or something. And Ollie Freeman, it was just mechanical issues for him. But you know, this team somehow find themselves third because of a brilliant Australian Grand Prix weekend, where, I mean, Ollie Freeman did a brilliant comeback drive in the sprint race to go from P11 to P2, and Smudge, obviously that brilliant drive in the main race to win and take his second ever Gcor race victory for, you know, in what's been, I'd say, a disappointing career up to this point. You know, Smudge, I've always held him as one of the fastest drivers. I've always said he's a driver who should be fighting for titles. But due to a number of factors, one because he's always leaving mid-season, another because of him being hit or mechanical issues, or him just bottling it himself, he's not being able to show his full potential. This season, however, he's only 2 points away from the championship lead, and what a championship this is, by the way. We've got 4 drivers, all in space of 7 points, fighting for the Drivers' Championship, man. What a championship this is going to be. But yeah, no, Williams, they're going to be up there. Whether they can do it, I'm not sure. I mean, they've definitely got the drivers, they've got the experience of Ollie Freeman, and they've got the speed of Smudge. But I don't know if I can just trust that Williams team. I mean, that Williams team, in terms of raw pace, dare I say, that might just be the fastest team on the grid in terms of raw pace. You know? But in terms of consistency, you know, and in clutch moments, not making mistakes, that team's synonymous with that. You know, Ollie Freeman, he's made a lot of mistakes in his career. He's also received a lot of bad luck, don't get me wrong. Last season, with the reliability, this season with more reliability. Obviously, he used to play a number 2 role at GS7 Mercedes, but I feel like when his big chance came at McLaren, and really that's when McLaren started building in season 4, that McLaren became a beast. Ollie Freeman had chances, he had opportunities to win, numerous opportunities to win, but because of one thing or another, whether that be not pitting behind safety car at Saudi Arabia, or double stacking with his teammate at Japan. Also, the contact with Smudge in Canada, forcing him to DNF. Oh, I don't even know what happened at Spain and Silverstone, but he just ended up being at the back after being the fastest driver. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a sad situation to be in. You know, Ollie Freeman should have at least one championship fight, maybe even one championship under his belt. But yeah, that Williams team, I don't know if I can trust them. Moving on to the final team, the reason I said 3.5 is because one of the drivers in this team is absolutely rapid. The other one's just plain washed. I mean, you could not find a bigger difference in terms of skill quality between Coward and Ciccone. I mean, Coward, I think, has been the fastest driver all season, but he's kind of suffered from the Williams issue, being superbly fast. But you know, whether it be an incident with Cyrax in Australia, or you know, a mistake in Suzuka, or you know, being on the wrong tires in Singapore, it's just not worked out for him. You know, Coward, as we speak, is 24 points behind Hurricane in the championship. That's almost a whole race win. Don't get me wrong, with how the season's going, that's recoverable. You know, that is recoverable. But it's, you know, it's going to have to be a one-man team. Coward is, you know, he's managed to get 2 pole positions this season. As I said, I think he's been the fastest driver. But in order to fight for a championship, and in order for this team to fight for the championship, they're going to need Ciccone to be up there. And Ciccone this year he struggled. He struggled a lot. I guess that is to be expected when you take into consideration he's missed 2 seasons of racing. One of which was with this new rules, you know, on the 24 model, which again is to be taken into consideration. But the gap's just been massive. I mean, you know, Ciccone is struggling when his quali pace is what's been his best trait this season. But that GN7 Mercedes car seems very, very quick, but not very, very stable. You know, that's the thing. And you know, even though Coward's been, you know, light years faster than Ciccone has, fun fact, the GN7 boy is actually the closest team pairing on the grid. Coward's on 23 points, Ciccone is on 22. Coward's, he's managed to score 51% of the team's points, Ciccone has scored 49% of the team points, and currently they lie 6th and 7th in the driver standings. So, I mean, they are close together. I mean, I don't know how. But I guess that's how it is. With this said, GN7 need to take the positives out of this. You know, they're in an okay position. To be fair, this is probably the best position they've been in since Gen 3 Season 4. But it could be so much more. That's the thing. It could be so much more. I think both drivers as the season will go ahead. I think Coward will become more and more consistent. I think something will click. And you know, shout out to Coward and his comeback drive at Singapore too. That was a very good comeback drive. And with Ciccone, I mean, I don't know. There's been a lot of rumours circulating. Ciccone might even be losing his seat. He might get loaned out somewhere due to poor results. So I mean, it's sad seeing what many claim as the greatest of all time struggling so much. So we'll see what happens. Might need to make a full video on Ciccone struggles. But yeah, that's been my thoughts on this season's title fight. I think GN7 Mercedes have very, very slim chance of winning the title, but they're there. They're, you know, with Coward on the wheel, who knows. Williams, I think Williams are the fastest, but not the most consistent. I think Haas are like Williams, but not as extreme, if that makes sense. I don't think they're as fast as Williams, but I think they're going to be more consistent than Williams. And I think McLaren will win it again. They're just so well-oiled, well-run. For McLaren not to win, something is going to have to collapse. You know, whether that's Hurricane just completely collapsing in the title, whether that's Charlie Dool unable to contain the pressure because this is definitely new pressure that Charles Lewis is going to be feeling in a championship fight, only 7 points behind his teammate. So yeah, I guess we'll see. But I do think McLaren will come out on top once again. So yeah, thank you for being with me. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.